this is a special bonus episode, and I've got BJ from the Aussilution Twitter site, Mining4Mayhem podcast and YouTube channel on the line. So you probably heard a bit from BJ as part of episode 112. So BJ, great to have you back on the Wrestling with John's podcast, and this is a special bonus episode where you're going to be taking on the 2-minute Brainbuster quiz, my friend. So how are you feeling about this quiz? You a little bit apprehensive, a little bit nervous, or are you quite confident in your wrestling general knowledge?
I thought I was confident because, I mean, I've been watching it for almost 20 years now, but it turns out after my not Brainbuster quiz, what do you call it? The Ashes quiz with Mags, where we have Australia versus England. Australia is currently down 2-0 in the series out of 5, so I have to win the next match there. I thought I was good. Turns out England's better.
Wow.
Hopefully I can sort of show off here.
So I'm sure you're going to be fine. And if you're kind of wrestling general knowledge, none of this is kind of set out to trip anybody up, or no trick questions in this. And because you're a guest from Australia, I've made it quite an Aussie heavy set of questions for the 2-minute Brainbuster quiz. So just to recap, there is a bit of a leaderboard. Now, the very first person who took on the Brainbuster quiz all them months ago, Grizz, who's been on the Wrestling with John's podcast a couple of times before, he is still the top of the leaderboard with 9 correct questions answered in 2 minutes. And then I think we go all the way to Kieran Reid, a friend of the show, regular on the podcast. He's at the bottom of the leaderboard. I'm sure we won't mind me saying this. He's on 3. Let's have a look. We've got Nick Towers. He's on 7. Jason Lee Wood is on 6. We've got Ashley Clements, who challenged Grizz very, very closely. Ashley is second on the leaderboard, second from the top. He's 8 correct questions in 2 minutes. And now we kind of hand it over to yourself then, BJ. So the rules of the quiz are quite simple. You have 2 minutes. I will start asking my first question when I press the button on my stopwatch at the beginning of the 2 minutes. I will read the questions as clearly as I possibly can, as quickly as I can, enabling you to get out as many correct questions as you can, correct answers within the 2 minutes. It is a lot of WWE based stuff in there. There might be stuff connected with maybe a little bit of WCW, a little bit of Japan thrown in there, and a few Aussie based questions in there, especially for you, BJ. So hopefully you'll be able to get some of the Aussie ones down there. But if you're all
get one right,
you'll be fine. Listen, just think, if you get somewhere in the middle of the pack, that's good, because the 2 minutes do go quick. My only bit of advice is give you that extra half a second to think about the answer instead of just spewing out what you think is right. Give yourself an extra half a second to think, and if you're not sure, give an answer anyway, because it could be the right one. You never know. And at the end of the 2 minutes, we'll go through the questions that I asked you, see how you got on with each individual question, and tell you at the end how well you did. So let's have a look. Get my stopwatch ready here. So the clock will start when I ask my first question, and my first question starts now. How many wrestlers did Shayna Baszler eliminate from this year's Women's Royal Rumble match?
5.
How many days were the Iconics WWE Women's Tag Team Champions for?
93.
How old was Tyler Bates when he became the first ever WWE United Kingdom champion? How old was Tyler Bates?
21.
Which Aussie is the current Kamikaze Pro Heavyweight Champion in the UK? So which Aussie is the current Kamikaze Pro Heavyweight Champion?
Kyle Fletcher.
Lance Archer is the former 3-time IWGP Tag Team Champion, but who was his partner in New Japan?
Oh, I should know this. For once, I actually should know this. I'm drawing blanks, so I'm pass.
Okay. Which current WWE producer / agent trained Emma or Tennille Dashwood?
Oh my god. Matt Bloom.
Oh, close. How many times did Ric Flair win the WWF World Title?
The WWF World Title.
It's a low number.
3.
Okay. Who is the current Melbourne City Wrestling Heavyweight Champion?
Adam Brooks.
Who was Buddy Murphy's tag team partner in NXT?
Oh, come on, Ben. I should know this one.
Forgotten Sons?
Yeah, no, I know who it is. I can't think of his name. Murphy, Bliss, and I'm going to kill myself when I hear the answer to that. Pass on that one.
Okay. Our 2 minutes are up. That was pretty tough. It sounded like you were kind of struggling with one or two. How do you think you got on?
I'd be lucky if I got 2 correct.
Okay, there was some Aussie-based questions in there. Not terribly straightforward, but let's start with question 1. Let's figure out how you did. So question 1, the question was, how many wrestlers did Shayna Baszler eliminate from this year's Women's Royal Rumble? So she actually eliminated the second most highest amount of eliminations, I think, alongside Charlotte. Both wrestlers, Charlotte and Shayna Baszler, both eliminated 8 wrestlers. So I don't think you got that one right, BJ. Question 2. No, so how many did she eliminate from this year's Royal Rumble?
Oh, Rumble. I thought you said Chamber.
Oh, how many did she eliminate from this year's Royal Rumble, the Royal Rumble match back in January? That's all right. How many days were the Iconics WWE Women's Tag Team Champions? So I think you said something like 97 or thereabouts.
Yeah,
it was actually it was 120 days.
Oh,
so a little bit more than you thought by about a month. So a little bit more than you thought. Question 3, how old was Tyler Bates when he became the first ever WWE United Kingdom champion? You said 21. He was actually 19 years old, surprisingly. So that staggers me how young that guy is and how much he's accomplished in such a young age. Question 4, which Aussie is the current Kamikaze Pro Heavyweight Champion? So you said Carl Fletcher. You said Carl Fletcher. Now, Carl Fletcher, he's making waves on the UK independent scene. I know he's a former Progress Tag Team Champion, but he's not been the Kamikaze Pro Heavyweight Champion. That was the Thunder from Down Under. We mentioned him earlier, Sean Custom, and he's still the champion 273 days in Kamikaze Pro. Lance Archer, of course, he's recently made his debut for AEW. He's the former 3-time IWGP Tag Team Champion, but who was his tag team partner? Now, you had this on the tip of your tongue. I know you did, but his tag team partner for those 3 IWGP Tag Team reigns was Davey Boy Smith Jr., Harry Smith.
Yeah, no, I was right. I had it on the tip of my tongue. I couldn't pull out a name up.
Yeah.
I had Teddy Hart.
Yeah, so close. I would have been a close one if you said Teddy Hart, but it was Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Yeah.
Question 6, which current WWE producer / agent trained Tennille Dashwood? We probably know her better as Emma from her NXT and WWE run. And it was Lance Storm from the Lance Storm Academy. And, of course, Lance Storm has recently just gone to a WWE agent role backstage. Question 7, how many times did Ric Flair win the WWF World title? I think you said 3 times.
Yeah.
It's actually two times. He won it once from the Royal Rumble 1992, which is one of my all-time favorite matches, and the second time when I think he beaten Bret Hart to win it the second time, promptly lost it back to Bret Hart later on that year. So 1992 was a big year for Ric Flair. 8. Who is the current Melbourne City Wrestling Heavyweight Champion? You said Adam Brooks. You mentioned him in your podcast earlier on, and you were right to say Adam Brooks. So that was correct. Well done. Now, this is the one that I think you're going to beat yourself up over. Who was Buddy Murphy, or Buddy? I think you know him as Murphy now. He's had his first name taken away from a typical WWE. But who was Buddy Murphy's tag team partner in NXT? And I gave you a little bit of a hint that he's one of the Forgotten Sons. And you mentioned Alexa Bliss. She was, of course, the manager of this duo in NXT, and it was called Wesley Blake. So close. you had so many on the tip of your tongue. You could have got 3 or 4. As it turns out, you got just the one, BJ. Really, really hard questions there. Do not beat yourself up over it. But that was a really... So looking at it, I thought, yeah, okay, there's some tough ones here, some curveballs. But you're going to kick yourself over that one with Wesley Blake and possibly Lance Archer's partner, David Boy Smith Jr. But it is one... you are on the leaderboard. You're holding the leaderboard up from the very bottom, BJ. But what I will say is that next time you're on, you get a second bite of the cherry and a second opportunity to get further up the rankings. But how was the experience for you? One thing I will say is don't beat yourself up. But was it not as stressful as I'd imagined? But how was it for you?
That was tough, and I like a good challenge. I knew I got one right because the Adam Brooks one was the one I knew was right because I've been following Adam Brooks ever since I discovered out who he was. So that was a fun interview with Adam Brooks as well. So the guy he won the championship off, Slacks, is also signed with Ring of Honor.
There we go. And I've only really come across Adam Brooks recently, so I look forward to seeing a lot more about him. And you say you've done an interview with Adam Brooks, is that right?
Yeah, and I've watched the championship match where he won the title, which was in a triple threat elimination match with Slacks and his former tag team partner, Dowie James, where Dowie actually cheated to eliminate Slacks, and then Adam Brooks was essentially the underdog who fought 10 years to win that championship. So it was one of those real happy endings, borderline Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30, as we talked about.
I'm gonna have to,
yeah, and you can
have to go out and search that one.
It's on Vimeo.
Cool.
So
it's
on Vimeo.
Yeah, I'm going to have to kind of search that out and learn more about it, do my homework on Adam Brooks, especially now that he's been part of a question or an answer on my 2-minute Brainbuster quiz. But that is the end of this special bonus episode of Wrestling with Johners, our special 2-minute Brainbuster quiz with BJ from Aussie from Mining4Mayhem podcast. So please go and check out all of BJ's wonderful content. But BJ, before we let you go, just do you want to give my listeners another quick shout out as to where they can find your content, where they can reach out to you on social media, and where they can kind of listen to all of your fantastic creative content? So your opportunity to plug your shows now, BJ.
All right, so you can find me at, I'm on anchor.fm/Mining4Mayhem. I'm on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, as well as Instagram at AussieLution. You can usually find me on Twitter posting almost different content every day. I've got several different videos that I post up on YouTube maybe 2 or 3 times a week. The Mining4Mayhem podcast comes out every Monday morning or Monday night, my time, depending on when I'm working. But that's usually either Sunday night, Monday morning Eastern for the Americans, and it's probably usually in the middle of the night for the people in the UK, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Or early
we're about 4 hours ahead of America on the East Coast at the moment.
Yeah, but yeah, that's everywhere you can find me.
Brilliant, and I'll make sure that all of your handles and links are part of the description to this special bonus episode of Wrestling with Johners. This has been the 2-minute Brainbuster quiz. There'll be many more of these to come, and I'm sure we'll have BJ back on the 2-minute Brainbuster quiz sometime in the future. But from myself and for BJ, have yourself a great week. Catch up with you all again soon.